Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Women's Sports Update, Episode 2. My name is Stacey Carter II, and I'm joined by...
I'm Audrey Becker.
Tommy Rooney.
And we're going to talk about the WNBA playoffs. We are in the semifinals. We have the Aces and Liberty in one series, and we have the Minnesota Lynx and the Connecticut Sun in the other. Let's talk about the first one, Aces and Liberty. Guys, the defending champs, they're down 0-2. There's a lot of things that have been going on between both teams. So let's just go ahead and break down the first two games. Audrey, what did you notice in the first two games of this series?
Yeah, well, in this early rematch of last year's finals, it is not looking good for Vegas on all fronts. Last game specifically, in Game 2, they allowed 20 points in the paint. And I remember Becky Hammond was, let's just say, very animated on the sideline. Immediately after a Kayla Thornton layup from the Liberty on the other end, she called timeout 3 minutes into the second quarter. So it was kind of a bad omen, I guess you could say, for the rest of the game, that things were really not going their way, which was a little surprising to me because multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year, A'ja Wilson, doesn't seem like the kind of person who would be allowing 20 points in the paint. So do you guys have any insight as to why? Maybe did they draw her out of the paint, or what was going on the Liberty's end to allow that to happen?
I mean, yeah, exactly what you said. I think that they were purposefully trying to get A'ja out of the paint. They had a lot of slashers that were getting easy buckets, most notably Courtney Vandersloot, who turned up this game. And they just had a lot of points off like screen and roll action that they got A'ja out of the key. So I feel like the Aces are definitely going to try to prevent that this game, maybe switch up to like a little zone. And I think that New York's probably the hardest place to play in women's basketball. That stadium was buzzing from start to finish. You could see it, timeouts. Coach Hammond was very mad. You could read her lips, and they were not, nice words. So I feel like, going back to Las Vegas, they're going to have, their fans on the side. And I feel like if they just get one game, then it's anybody's series. I know that you think it's over, Stacey, but I still believe if there's one team that can do this, I feel like it's the Aces.
I just don't think so. First of all, no team in the WNBA has come back down from 0-2. Yep. And then we talking about a Liberty team that's hungry. They lost to the Aces last year. I just think that sometimes you just reach your peak. You just reach to the point where your best is not good enough. In Game 2, they threw out their best punch, but the Liberty kept the lead throughout most of the game, even though the Aces shot better. And then A'ja Wilson, of course, unanimous MVP, but it's like almost like 1.5 versus 5 out there. I mean, A'ja's having efficient games, but we talking about like Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum going 5 for 13, 5 for 14. Missing free throws towards the end of the game. That's un-Aces-like. But, like I said in the first episode, they just got to have a lot of mileage on their body. They've been in the playoffs since pretty much A'ja Wilson into the league. They've been battling in tough series, and it's just catching up to them. They're just outmatched. I think they're outmatched. And speaking of allowing points in the paint, they have A'ja Wilson defensively in their front court. Then it's who's who for everybody else.
Yep.
Then we talking about a Liberty team that got size. Breonna Stewart can toggle between 3 and 4. Got Jonquel Jones, who's a former MVP. Then Sabrina Ionescu has size. Vandersloot, like you said, is slashing to the paint. So I just think that they are going against the better team, simply. And it don't matter. Game 3, Game 4, Game 5, the Liberty's going to close it out.
I agree. I agree with everything you said, Stacey. And I do want to play devil's advocate, Aces advocate, I should say. But I think specifically Game 2, it was less so that the Liberty outperformed the Aces as much as it was the Aces shot themselves in the foot. They missed, I believe it was 7 free throws, especially those last few down in the clutch. And, I think A'ja had one to tie the game, but rimmed off. It's just kind of rookie mistakes like that. And I don't know what contributed to that. Obviously, even the best players miss free throws sometimes. It's never a guarantee. But I'm wondering if the environment change and maybe a genuine do-or-die, win-or-go-home game, because last game, of course, that's always the mentality. But this time, it's real, I think maybe Vegas will give them a little bit of help.
Records are meant to be broken. Once upon a time, no team ever came down from 3. That picture of LeBron with the sunglasses on. A'ja's the best player of all time. So I think it could be done, especially with this group.
No, I don't think so. They're I'm sorry, and look, the Aces, are my favorite team. A'ja Wilson's my favorite player, but I'm a realist, and I'm just facing facts here.
Shout out to Stewie, though. Syracuse's own almost had a triple-double.
Mm-hmm.
So
would have been the first one of her career, I believe. So let's head over to the other series here. We got Minnesota and Connecticut. That one's a little bit more tightly contested. I believe it's tied up at 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going over to Connecticut for Game 3. What do you guys think is coming ahead?
I think this is going to go 5. Mm-hmm. I just think that they're kind of evenly matched. I'm going to be looking for Nafisa Collier, their leading scorer, Defensive Player of the Year this year, to step up her game efficiently. She shot 3 for 14, even though they won the game. I don't think they can get away with Nafisa Collier struggling, from the field. She would have to upgrade, her points and everything. But like I said, I think it's going to go 5. But my thing about the Sun has been like this for years. I don't think they have a go-to bucket when it gets down to crunch time. The closest thing they got is DeWanna Bonner, and she's 38 years old. So they always been in the middle offensively, but I just think this is going to be an exciting series defensively, and it's going to go 5.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the Sun play team basketball, and that's how they won Game 1. They don't have like a superstar on their team, but they also do have to go against one of the best defensive players in the league in Nafisa Collier. So I think that her only having 9 points and them still getting a win, that was huge. And now they have to go on the road. So I agree with you. I think this is going to be a 5-game series no matter what. I don't know who's going to win just yet. Shooting splits basically flip-flop from Game 1 to Game 2 as far as who is shooting the 3 better. So that could be the key to Game 3. And I feel like this Minnesota team is going to end up winning this series.
Who you got Game 3?
Minnesota. Lakes all the way.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the update for the WNBA playoffs semifinals. Game 3 in both series going to happen this Friday. Now let's pass it on to Caitlin for hockey.
Thank you so much, Stacy. I'm Caitlin McDonough here to talk about women's ice hockey. Now, ice hockey, they were supposed to play against the Minnesota Duluth on September 28th and 29th to open their season. However, due to Hurricane Helene, that game has been postponed and moved back to January. Now, opening weekend is scheduled for October 4th and 5th. They're playing Stonehill College. Last season, they're not great. They weren't great in their opening game. And in fact, in opening games, home games actually, Cuse is 5-10-1, dating back to the 09-08 season. However, the good news for Cuse is that they are 1-0 all-time against Stonehill in hockey. They beat them 4-2 last year in February of 2023. That was also their senior day. However, Cuse, they brought in 8 freshmen, but their leading point scorers are all gone. The only point scorer that is coming back is Tatum White. Now, she is captain, and they're going to have to rely on her, but they're also going to have to rely on their goaltender, Allie Kelly. She had an amazing season last year. She had an 0.907 save percentage, and they're going to rely on her to keep them in close contested games. Now, what Cuse needs to do this season is put shots on frame and crash the boards. They were outscored badly last season by their opponents. But if they keep shooting the puck, eventually goals will fall in. And in terms of PWHL action, they just renamed their 6 inaugural teams. You have the Boston Fleet, Minnesota Frost, Montreal Victory, the New York Sirens, Ottawa Charge, and the Toronto Scepters. Cuse has 3 former hockey players playing in that league, so this upcoming league will be super, super fun to watch. Minnesota were the inaugural Walter Cup champions last season as they defeated Boston 3-2 in the series. That's all for women's ice hockey. Sending it over to Kay and Layla for women's volleyball.
Thank you, Caitlin. I'm Kay Racine.
And I'm Layla Rogers.
And let's dig into some Syracuse Orange volleyball. This is their best season yet since 2010, and they're heading into a weekend where they're playing 2 ranked opponents. Talk to me about number 17 ranked SMU and number 1 ranked Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so this Friday they're playing SMU. SMU is new to the ACC. They just came from another conference, and now they're competing against Syracuse. Sunday, Pitt is ranked number 1, and they're here to win. I mean, they were in the Final Four last year for the NCAA tournament, and now they are competing against Syracuse at home.
And the last meeting between these two was in 2009, where Pitt won 3-1. Syracuse only won 1 match that game, and they're also coming off a win against Georgia Tech and Clemson, I believe.
Yeah, so Pitt was able to beat Georgia Tech. At the time, they were ranked number 14th in the country, and now they are able to get their own ranking, which is 17th. So they're definitely coming up in rankings to, make a name for themselves and hopefully continue that winning streak.
Syracuse is going up against number 1 ranked Pittsburgh this Sunday. They have not beaten them since 2022. What are they going to have to do in this game to win?
I think the main thing will be blocking. When you're able to block up big opponents like Pitt, that's the only way to stop them, as well as serving. I mean, Syracuse right now is, I think, number 3, you said, in the ACC conference for their serving aces. And when you have a tough serve, you're able to get another team out of system. They're not able to run their offense. That's the main thing with Pitt. They have a great offense with great hitters in the front row and back row. So with those tough serves, it just, that's the only way to stop them.
And having someone like Anastasia Kokolova on the team, she's able to lead the ACC right now with 19 blocks a season, and having that person to play off of and have her on the front row, that's going to be very crucial to the Syracuse team to be able to dominate against SMU and Pittsburgh this weekend.
Yeah, Anastasia as well as Sydney Moore. She's a middle blocker as well. They have been able to put up great blocking numbers for the team, and that's what we're going to need on Sunday to be able to stop Pitt, like I said earlier.
So what's going to be the ultimate thing that the defense is going to have to do? Because they've struggled a little bit in the past, coming off 2 losses of ACC play away. And so now that they start ACC play at home, what are they going to have to do to make sure that they get together and beat these 2 opponents?
I think the main thing that Syracuse volleyball needs to do is play their own game and like try their best to do what they know, because in their preseason matches, they were playing teams that were not that high in competition. I don't think they came into the ACC prepared for what's to come. The ACC is one of the best conferences right now in volleyball, and Syracuse is just not really up to par with the other teams. So playing ranked teams this weekend, all you could really do is, like I said, serve hard and keep blocking, digging those balls, and just continue to play what they know.
Speaking of playing their own game, Ava Palm, Anastasia Koslova, they lead the team right now in kills. Ava with 19, Anastasia 1 behind her.
Ava Palm is definitely a key component to the Syracuse volleyball team. She has been leading the team in almost all games in her hitting percentage and kills. I mean, they're going to have to be setting the ball to her multiple times to be able to get some points on the board for the Syracuse volleyball team.
And she's ranked 2 in the country right now with her hitting percentage at .500 percentage. So that's going to be something that she needs to continue to ramp up to continue to be dominant among these teams that they're playing in ACC.
As well as Ava Palm, Skylar Jordan is also up there for one of the leaders on the team and getting points on the board. She is a great outside as well. And it's honestly those 2 who are making a big impact on the team.
A lot of them are transfers. A lot of people came in. The team last year had a lot of freshmen playing in positions they shouldn't be playing. A lot of younger, older people that have transferred out. They have a whole new team this year with a lot of grad students, new people that they can bounce energy off of. And this team is clearly proven to have gotten better because they're starting with a better record than last year. Last year they were 2-29. So continuing to excel off the momentum that they have is going to be very crucial.
Yeah, Kay, you mentioned how they have many transfers this season. I mean, last year they had multiple injuries where they had freshmen playing in positions that are not their normal positions. And now with these transfers coming in, they're able to be in their own designated positions and play their game, because last year they weren't able to do that. Everyone was out. They had no players except for like about 7.
Yeah, going into this weekend, they're going to have to make sure they dominate, stay on top of things, be more consistent. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching Women's Sports Update, and we will see you guys next week.